Well, those are our guest questions. I think it's time to get to our awards. Might be the award for the longest episode. Who knows? But
we
it's
earned
time.
it.
Yeah. It's time for the first annual Three Films Pod Awards. As opposed to the Oscars, we're going to jump right to the Best Picture.
That's right.
Just for a little clarification, what we're doing here, the movies that are eligible are everything we've watched since starting the podcast. So from Do the Right Thing through the Buddy Holly story. So all those are eligible. We've done some like round one, like the recaps, like we talked about Marriage Story, Parasite, all that kind of stuff. Last Black Man, San Francisco, a lot of great movies, but none of those count. It's only from Do the Right Thing on. And yeah, we kind of just came up with our own awards, and we're each going to kind of give an answer, and we'll see if we are synonymous on any of these, or if not, then we'll throw it out to the people and see who they think won. So
I know I'm excited I hope we have different answers for everything just for the voting element.
Oh, 100%.
I want to, I mean, if we have answers that are completely all three of us 100%, that's great. But I think it'd be super fun to be able to put some stuff to vote.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. So yeah, the anti-Oscars, we're going backwards. We're going to start with Best Picture. Tyler, what was the best picture you saw?
This one was really, really hard. And I mean, I'm sure it's going to be difficult for all you guys, all two of you, both of you. So what I had to do is I had to go through my Letterboxd, and I had to pick the one that I rated 5 stars. It's the only one within our established guidelines or whatever. It's the only one that I rated 5 stars, and it's The Shining.
I liked it.
Yeah, it completely blew me away. I didn't stop thinking about it for a couple weeks after we watched it.
Yeah. I think it's oh no. Oh, we were doing so good.
What was the last thing we talked about? We're talking about The Shining.
Yeah, you were talking about The Shining Best Picture.
Yeah. Well, anyways, my audio cut out, so wherever I ended up on is my thoughts on The Shining Best Picture.
Okay. Perfect. Let's see. All right. Matt, what's your best picture?
My best picture would have to be Pather Panjali, the first movie of the Apu trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that movie just took me away, and I loved that sort of intimate story that it told. Yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah. That was a surprise for sure. I like that. Mine, honestly, it's what we started out with. It's Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
It's my best picture. Like, I loved it. I think it was a great way for us to kick off the podcast. It's a fun movie. It's a dramatic movie. It's a insightful, like thoughtful, thought-provoking movie. So, yeah, I don't know. Mine's Do the Right Thing. I had a good time with that for sure.
I almost want to like redo the episode just because.
Oh yeah.
I know, like we said, it's one of our most popular episodes, but in my opinion, I haven't listened to it in a while, but it's probably one of our worst as far as like, I don't know, whatever. We're just better at this now. And it's such a good movie. I think it deserves a better presentation, but whatever.
Maybe we'll go back to it.
I'm glad we watched it. I think about it all the time.
For sure. Next award, favorite episode and or round. Matt, what is yours?
My favorite round would have to be the trilogies round, which was the hardest one to do.
Yeah.
Yes,
for those listening,
logistically challenging.
We do a pretty good job. Like we mentioned earlier, we schedule things out. Ben does a really good job of, producing this whole thing. And what we try to do is we try to watch the movie with, what we try to do is we try to watch a movie a week, so that we're ready to record on it. It doesn't come out that week, but we try to be, enough in advance. The trilogies were very hard to watch in 1 week.
Yes, they were.
not only is it hard logistically with any movie that you need watching 3 movies in a week, but also these were long movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so finding the time and the right time was a challenge, but it was such a rewarding round being able to see, a completed story, whether some of them weren't intended to be necessarily, a package deal. but two of them were, and it was great to see that full vision, realized.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm just really glad we watched the whole Apu trilogy. Blade was a ton of fun, and the Before trilogy ended up being our most popular episode.
Yeah.
So, trilogies. That was one that like I knew what we were up against logistically, and I was like, damn, like this is a lot, like when we talked about compromises made and the amount of time it takes to put this podcast out. We felt it for sure on the trilogies round, but it also was one of my favorite rounds. Not the favorite round for me. Because for me, my favorite round was the Hitchcock round. I remember when that was over, I just kept wanting to watch Hitchcock stuff. But we had to move on. I could obviously watch whatever I want, whenever I want. But as far as the podcast is concerned, I was like, oh man, I just want to keep doing Hitchcock. But I had a blast.
My short list honestly was trilogies, Spike Lee and Hitchcock. That was like kind of what I was going between, was all of those. But if I look back at it, like I could put a third option in there, but really, I mean, I don't know, trilogies was just like, it's really between that and Hitchcock. Trilogies was great. Like, I don't know when I would have watched the Before trilogy. I don't know when I would have made the time to watch the Apu trilogy. It was so fun to go watch some of these like Hitchcocks, like some classic ones and some ones that, just like, I don't know. But I think if I have to answer, I'm going to go with Hitchcock, just because for me, it was just like, we really got to know about director's taste and style through that round. So that was a lot of fun, because it kind of turned into like the conversations we had with the Kubrickisms and the Spielbergisms, like that all stemmed from Hitchcock, I think, where it's just like, cool. Like what else do these directors do that kind of carry over? So that was probably my favorite, but honestly it's like a 1A 1B with the trilogies, because that was a lot of fun. We kind of talked about this earlier. What was the most unsung gem that we had? What was yours, Tyler?
I'm gonna go, this might be controversial in the sense that it might not be the most unsung, but I'm gonna go with the entire Before trilogy.
Nice.
I feel like everyone should see that. you know? And I know it's pretty popular. It's a pretty hipster pick as far as like film buffs are concerned. I see it on film Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
I see it a lot more now. It's almost like that the Bader Meinhof thing, where once you know about a thing, you start to see it everywhere, right? That's the whatever. I don't know. But yeah, also I'll vote that. The most unsung for me was the Before trilogy.
And it feels like a thing that people know about, but I don't know how many people have watched it all.
Yeah.
Which
you have to experience the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that ties into mine, where it's something that I'm sure everyone knows about and they're aware of. So in that sense, it doesn't qualify for the unsung gem, but I don't know how many people have sat through all 3 hours of Malcolm X. Right. But that movie it was amazing. It was like, it was a great film. We talked, like, I wanted it to be a mini series. Like, I just wanted to go in depth even more. I don't think anyone doesn't realize Denzel played Malcolm X. Like, people know about this movie, but I just don't know how many people I've met that have watched the entire thing. And it's something to experience. So for me, for that reason, that qualifies as my unsung gem, would be Malcolm X.
No, I would agree with that. I think I agree with both of you that everybody should see both of those, the Before trilogy and Malcolm X. Mine is not one that necessarily is must see. However, I was shocked when there on IMDb was a movie with Drew Barrymore and Keanu Reeves that I had not seen. Pat Morita. And so it's got to be
This is where you're going.
Babes in Toyland.
I love it.
I would say was a shocking unsung gem for me.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. That was such an experience, that movie. That was something else. That was really fun. That's another one where, honestly, like, the Weiler Christmas picks were things that when I first heard about it, I was like, what is this going to be like? But then, like, after we watched it, I was like, these are actually really great picks. Like, I really like these a lot. So between that and Nixon Nuts, I was on board. Coolest movie. I mean, I'll just throw mine out there. It has to be Purple Rain. No other movie this year had Prince in it. So I think it just disqualifies every other movie. Yeah, my answer is Purple Rain.
I would disagree only because this movie had Ben Mendelsohn in it. Animal Kingdom. That movie, so fucking cool. You've talked about it for a long time, but yeah, Animal Kingdom for me.
I will kindly disagree with both of you.
Yes.
Because I don't recall in Purple Rain or Animal Kingdom seeing Cary Grant
True.
in either of those
Very
movies.
true.
And we're talking about cool movies.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go with North by Northwest here.
That's solid.
All great picks. That'd be a great trilogy for sure. I would love that. Best music.
I mean, this is like, to me, this is the most obvious pick. Like, if it's okay if it doesn't get all three of our votes, but if it's not Purple Rain, I'm not sure what we're doing here. Like,
yeah, it's understandable.
I have a lot of love for a lot of the music that we've seen. There's even specific movies like the 25th Hour has a really cool soundtrack and has, but like, I mean, come on. It's Purple Rain, fucking Rain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an easy pick. It's an obvious pick, but for me, it's like a hands down best music was Purple Rain.
What about you, Matt?
I'm going to go with Sing Street.
Yeah. I thought you might, and I understand why, but
it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Prince is awesome, but what he's not is John Williams. So
True.
I'm going with Empire Strikes Back because
that's fair.
That's a classic to me. It just carries over. Purple Rain was up there, honestly. Like, it was the first thing I wrote down, but it's like, oh, we watched Empire. Like, that Star Wars theme is just in my heart.
True.
So, biggest surprise, I think I kind of threw mine out there already, but it was Mixed Nuts. I did not anticipate liking this movie as much as I did. Full disclosure here, pardon me, Matt, I hope you forgive me, but when I threw the idea out there for an Unsung Gem and we all, like, everyone gave their nominations, my immediate thought right after was like, I don't know if I explained this well enough to Matt. Like, this was supposed to be like a movie you like that you think people don't know about. I don't know if he understood what I meant by Unsung Gem.
Oh, he understood.
It turns out he
nailed it.
He knew the assignment, as we could say. He nailed it. That was a great choice.
The thing about Mixed Nuts is, now when you watch it, and this is for anybody else listening to this, now when you watch it, it almost feels like the actors back in 1995 when they're making this movie knew it would be an unsung gem later on.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. They knew the assignment.
Exactly. So,
I had an answer for this, but I'm going to switch it. Well, I had two that I couldn't quite decide. But for me, the Apu trilogy, I knew nothing about it. I knew that I would like enjoy it in the sense that it's a movie and, you know, it's acclaimed and whatever. But it's been on my mind a lot more than I anticipated that it would. Having said that, I don't know the next time that I'll watch it.
Oh,
if ever.
For sure.
I imagine I will at some point, because I did really love it, and it was such a cool experience, and it was just fun to see. It was just fun to watch. It was fun to see it. It was fun to look a little bit of history, and So I was most surprised by the Apu trilogy, just the whole thing in general.
Yeah. That's a great pick. And similarly, I would say I was very surprised with the Before trilogy. I hadn't heard of it in any circles, so I'm not even in that cool niche group that talks about it.
Oh, you are now.
I am now. Yeah, I can now sing its praises, but yes. I really enjoyed that. Didn't know anything about it. Big surprise.
Close runner for me was Purple Rain. I didn't have anticipation going into it. I didn't know what to expect.
That was my pick.
Was it?
That's true.
I just was like, Apu was more, I like to like, oh, I liked a movie with Prince music in it and like Prince and whatever. Like that is less surprising to me than like this movie out of India by people that don't even know how to make movies.
Yeah.
You know, like,
all these first timers.
Purple Rain was for sure what I had written down, but I changed
so good
last second. Yeah.
Best little pod, either movie draft or recast. Matt, what do you have?
I'm going Oceans. Oceans.
Yeah.
Danny.
That's mine too. That was a lot of fun. I mean, I loved all the drafts and all the recasts, but
yeah.
Oceans was fun. It created my rivalry with Leo.
Yep.
So it'll always have a special place.
Yeah, I think this might be our first trifecta here.
Nice.
I want to give a quick shout out to the MCU draft. That was fun.
Of course.
Have the guys from, Final Take on the now defunct podcast Final Take. I mean, they've all been fun. Henry, Candace, and Arzu, and Austin and Jen, all these people. I also like the Res Dogs one a lot, but the Oceans just kind of like set the tone. That was so much fun. We hear a lot about that episode, and I think it's for a good reason. So yeah, it's our first three
first unanimous.
It's like, it's unanimous. I like that.
My backup for that, my runner up was the solo episode with Geeky Waffle. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great episode. Okay, favorite scene in the past year. Tyler, what do you have?
I had a few here, but then all of a sudden it came to me. I'll never forget the feeling watching this scene for the first time. But the scene in the 25th hour with Barry Pepper and Philip Seymour Hoffman in the apartment above Ground Zero. I still to this day couldn't tell you a word they said. I just remember being like sucked into that moment, like what it meant to have filmed that in the moment that they did.
Mm-hmm.
None of that was planned. It was just like, oh shit, we can do this. And 9/11, we talked about it on the episode, but 9/11 was just always in the background of that movie.
Yeah.
Sort of in the same way that it is just in our everyday life. I mean, we're recording this 4 days away from from 9/11. And it's just like, just having it in the background and just the confluence of like the real world and this imaginary world that we were living in. And just like, it was such an interesting timestamp and an interesting portrait of that moment in history.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, it was so representative of the way that like we were sort of trying to deal with it as a country and as a culture. Like it was always there, but we're trying to move on. And we also have like other things going on. We have our actual lives, but like, I don't know. It was a really heavy, beautiful, incredibly crafted scene. And it'll always stick out to me.
That was a great pick. Matt, what about you?
That was great. Oh man, one of the scenes that I go back to is the record store scene in Before Sunrise. With the young Ethan Hawke, young Julie Delpy, and that's just such a cool scene. It captures like such a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very honest, good. Very real. And like you can watch that and you can know exactly the feeling.
Yep.
Like everyone's had that moment in their life to some degree. I would hope.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I think, I put a short list basically for all these answers. And the one I was going back and forth with the most is also from Before, but it's the end of Before Sunset when she's like, like kind of singing and dancing. And they're just like pushing on Ethan Hawke and just like how that ends. I'm like, oh man, that was such a
that's a great pick.
Gut punch of a scene. I love that so much. I think that might be my answer. But I did also love the showdown on Barry Lyndon, when they're doing the duel with each other. And he has to like, just how that all plays out. I thought that was really cool. And basically any scene in Purple Rain where Prince is singing, but I'm going to go with the ending of Before Sunset would probably be my favorite scene.
Yeah. I mean, runner up for me would have been Prince singing The Beautiful Ones.
Mm-hmm.
That was another like jaw on the floor. Like, holy shit. That was a really cool scene. And then also the scene from Animal Kingdom. I think we talked about this where Mendelssohn is sitting on the couch and
that's a great one. And I think it'd be unanimous amongst us that it would be Adam Driver doing karaoke if we were counting Marriage Story.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure. For sure.
Do that.
No contest.
Yeah.
Best male performance. Does anybody want to go? I'm still trying to nail mine down.
Yeah, so I had someone written down, but again, I audibled at the last moment because I kind of I've started to worry that a lot of my picks had a lot of recency bias. So I really had to go through the list. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Denzel played Malcolm X. Like Denzel is Malcolm X. Like he crushed that
Yeah.
Like what else? I don't know what else I can say about it. So
No,
I'm going to give it to Denzel with Malcolm X.
He was in that 100%.
He sure was the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Matt,
I think
yeah.
I think I gotta agree with Tyler. I think I don't know if I would give it to anybody else.
Yeah, I was. Oh, yeah. I mean, now that you said that, I don't know. I'm ashamed I didn't even think about it because I put that on my unsung gem. And the one I had down here was Jack in The Shining. Like, I know it's not what Stephen King wanted, but his performance is still just amazing in there. But it is so hard to go against Denzel. As much as I fought against Pacino winning for Scent of a Woman, like I have to go with Denzel. That was the performance, honestly, of a lifetime. Like that was amazing. So
who were your honorable mentions there?
Cary Grant, North by Northwest. Ben Mendelsohn and Jack. That's what I kind of had written down here. I was gonna go with Jack, but Denzel's, I think, the way to go.
I had J-Law for his supporting role in Vox Lux.
Nice.
I like that.
On brand, always.
Yeah.
For me, Mendelsohn was my runner up there as well.
Nice.
He was actually the one I thought. I was like, yeah, Mendelsohn, 100%.
Yeah.
But then when I really think about it, like, it's got to be Denzel for me.
Agreed. All right, best female performance.
So one of the things I'm actually like, I guess not embarrassed of, was a very male dominated lineup of movies. And that's something I actually didn't realize when we were going through this. And it's like, I don't know, I guess I am a little embarrassed by it.
Don't be embarrassed because it's a male dominated industry still. So
that's true.
A lot of the movies are still male dominant.
And like most of the movies we did, the females typically are in a supporting role, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, so there was, I don't know. I guess when it comes down to it, for me, it was Jamie Lee Curtis in Fish Called Wanda. But I do have a couple honorable mentions, but it just made me realize, like, I'd like to do a little bit better job of, like, you know,
it's true.
Keeping that in mind.
But I felt the same way compiling this list. I was like, there's a lot of dude heavy stuff. Matt, you come up with yours?
Yeah, sorry. I had just mentioned her, but her name slipped my mind for whatever reason. I would go with Julie Delpy from the Before trilogy. Yeah,
for sure.
She was fantastic in that. That's one of my honorable mentions too. Probably
that's my runner up.
Should be my pick because, you know, it's also hard to weigh 3 movies against everyone else who's just in one, but she did a great job in all of those.
Yeah.
But
which one was your favorite of the 3 of her performances?
Got to be the third one, I think, for me.
You think so? Yeah.
For her performance, Midnight. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sunset's still my favorite movie out of the 3, but she was just like amazing in Before Midnight.
Yeah.
I loved her.
We talked about it on the pod, but just like her bravery to the topless scene she has, just walking around the apartment. And like, I mentioned it on the pod, like I had my own body issues, right? I'm like, God damn, I don't even think I could do that in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't know. It just was like, she's fucking awesome. And that's probably what should win. I might change my answer to that, but
I mean, I might too, honestly. Like I was going to say Shelley Duvall for Shining, because she was so great in that too. I also had Jamie Lee Curtis. And maybe all this crossover is because there were so few options for us, like embarrassingly. But yeah, even as we're talking about it, it's like Julie Delpy really just like, and also knowing that she like helped like basically co-write all this stuff.
I'm changing, like, no shade to JLC.
I love JLC.
It's well documented on this pod. We stand JLC, but I'm going to change my mind to Julie Delpy.
Cool. Denzel and Julie. Let's get them together. Cool. And then it's time for us to do our own Rushmore, our 4 favorite movies from season 1. Don't have to be the best, whatever, just like the ones that we liked the most.
These are OR scrubs.
Oh, are they?
And we are just doing, like, each of us are doing our 4 favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you have yours? Do you want to
go? I can cobble it together. And
I don't have mine yet.
And we are doing everything. Little pod, normal pod.
Yeah. We'll do everything.
But nothing that came before Do the Right Thing.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Well, that's not that hard. Okay, so I say it's not that hard, and then my mind goes completely blank. This is the memory issue we've talked about. Okay, so Animal Kingdom.
Mm-mm.
Animal Kingdom jumps on there. The Shining, pretty easily. I'm going to say Before Sunrise.
Nice.
And this is a tough one. Gosh dang it. I'm gonna go with Vertigo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But I really wanted to pick Purple Rain. I haven't. I literally haven't stopped thinking about Purple Rain since we watched it.
I mean,
So if I'm being true to myself, that's the one I probably should pick.
well,
In fact, I'm going to
okay.
Purple Rain.
Sorry,
Sorry,
taking
Vertigo.
off Vertigo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Purple Rain makes mine. This was I decided for myself that I just want to do the Rushmore of things that I hadn't seen in the theme of like the podcast that we're trying to watch new things. So normally I Do the Right Thing would have been a lock, but I've seen that already. So mine is Purple Rain, Before Sunset, North by Northwest, and Path or Panchali.
Nice.
Those would be my 4 favorite things that I watched on season 1 of the podcast. What about you, Matt?
So mine would be Before Sunrise, Do the Right Thing, because I hadn't seen that. Strangers on a Train, and Path or Panchali.
Gosh, this is such a hard one because I'm like, yeah, like Do the Right Thing. Like, I don't know. I'll stick with mine, but yeah.
No,
These
they're
are
all
fantastic.
all solid. I think that's a reflection of some good choices we made this year. Make good choices.
Well, speaking of choices,
Yeah, that's all of our awards, but you know, season 2 is around the corner.
It's coming up.
We're all very excited about it. Kind of want to give a little tease of what we have coming up. Technically it will start in October, and we're going to be starting out with some of Halloween movies. We got some Ernest Scared Stupid, Quiet Place 2, Rocky Horror. We're going to do some more recasts. We have an X-Men one coming up, which will be a lot of fun. Then November, we're getting into Miyazaki movies. December, we decided to do Christmas movies. Just kind of came up with that idea by ourselves.
yeah, like pretty original
We're just
stuff.
trying to think of like,
Yeah.
what could we do that's
Like,
kind
what's-
of in season?
what's
Yeah.
different? Like,
Festive.
what is other people not doing? You know?
What's original here?
Yeah.
Like everyone's doing
exactly.
winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing The Sandlot. They're doing like all these summer movies. Like we should do a Christmas
hello,
movie.
it's Jesus' birthday. Ever
Yeah.
heard of him?
Exactly. Sorry, party so lame. And yeah, after that, we're getting into basically our next rounds to pick here. So Matt's picks will be January, Tyler's will be all of February, mine will be all of March, and I think there's a good chance that April's going to be our next round of Unsung Gems, which you heard about
Probably.
earlier. So that'll be fun. But yeah, Matt, do you have an idea maybe of what you want to do in January?
Yeah, we're. I figured it out just now a few minutes ago.
Nice.
So we try to listen to feedback from our listeners to try to make the show better. But also, like, we're able to identify feedback ourselves and ways that we can do better. And Tyler, pointed out that we do not have nearly enough movies that we've watched over the course of the year that represent women actors
I love where
and
this is
directors and filmmakers.
Yeah.
So I would say that our first round of the new year would be any movies that have women in top billing, at least 2
Okay.
in the top billing. That
Okay.
stipulation's more for us, but yeah, it'll be a women's round. That way we start off 2022 directly addressing something and having 3 out the gate.
Cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I like that.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. Cause yeah, I just was like, like the way we chose our movies, a quarter of the year was director specific.
Yeah.
And so, but outside of that, I was like, man, we had some opportunity to feature some women here, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're going to make that a priority. It's definitely something I want to do.
What are we going to do in February?
Well, in the same vein of representation, Ben, you and I have talked quite a bit throughout our relationship about getting around to watching Akira Kurosawa.
Yes.
Finally. he's been on my list for about as long as I've been interested in movies beyond just like, watching them, like actually, trying to learn about them. So yeah, we're going to get into Kurosawa. I picked The Seven Samurai. And then there will be 2 more to come.
Nice.
I like couldn't be more excited about that round. And I just love like the theme of representation in the first half of next year is going to be really cool. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. Right now, what I have going on here is I was going to kind of leave it up to everyone to vote. Basically, the 2 polar opposites here, where either we're going to watch some box office bombs, things that just actually didn't make money, not like Tenet that only made like 400 million or whatever, just like things that actually lost money, or movies from AFI's top 100. Probably things that we should have seen by this point in our lives that we haven't. Things that kind of get reviewed by critics as being good. I had IMDb up there, but then I realized it's just a bunch of dudes who just want everyone to think The Dark Knight is the 5th best movie of all time. And I don't want to go off of that list. So I like the AFI list a little bit better. So, but when it gets closer, we'll open that up to the people, to the movie club, and let them decide if they want us to watch great movies or horrible movies. We'll kind of see what they say. And then, we'll get into Unsung Gems after that. I'm very excited. A lot of cool stuff coming up next year too.
Yeah.
We've got Thor coming out next May. So, maybe we'll have a little Taika episode, which I think would be kind of fun to talk about some of his stuff. But genuinely thank you everybody for your support, for your participation. Year 1, I think it's been a great success in all of our books here.
Absolutely.
And we were really looking forward to making, season 2 even better, if we can. We still have on our website, 3filmspod.com, the feedback form. If there's anything you want to put in there, we would honestly, genuinely love to hear from you guys. We like what we're doing, but we're happy to make tweaks just to, make it what people want to hear and listen to. And thanks to you guys. Matt, Fuzz, like this has been a blast. This has been a great year. It's something I look forward to every single day. This has just been a great way to stay connected and all that kind of stuff. And I'm glad that we've been doing it and that people have been joining us along on this journey. And I can't wait till we can all go see a movie together in person.
Same.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's going to be awesome.
Thank you guys and thank everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for your support. And we will see you next week at the beginning of season 2 of 3 Films and a Podcast.
Excited. Thank you, everyone.
Season 2.
Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody force me to care. Somebody make me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help us survive being alive.